welcome everybody to episode 262 of the China Show, the real China Show. 262 is the area code for?
Wisconsin. Well, part of Wisconsin.
Okay.
So shout out if you're in the chat or down below in the comments. Let us know if you're watching from there. Big props to you.
Yeah, I heard about cheese from there. Is it good?
It is. Yeah. Do you ever had cheese curds?
Eating your curds and whey?
No.
Oh yeah, I have had a cheese curds.
I think I gave them to you before.
Yeah,
that's a Wisconsin thing. They like kind of squeak when you eat them.
Yeah, I like them.
Yeah,
like
they're mad good actually.
Yeah, they're very good. I'll get some after the show.
Oh, nice. Fantastic.
Anyway, we got to get into the show because it's quite the show today. Of course, we're going to saunter into it with what's new, where we talk about everything that's new, specifically with regards to China.
It's equal to what's old.
What's happening here?
This is what happens when they're going to bulldozer your house in China. Because you don't own the land and you don't own your house. You don't own anything in China.
Yeah, I'll take it
so
back.
It's very important to understand that when you say, I don't want you to bulldoze my land, the CCP will send in something called Chengguan, and they'll send in police officers. And what they'll do is they'll say, all right, you got a day to leave. You say, no, this is my home. Right? They're like,
Sure.
No, we're going to build a government building here. We're going to build a highway through. We're going to build whatever.
Sure.
You say no, they physically remove you and throw you in jail.
Now, there's a little bit of disinformation that goes around because you've seen those classic pictures of what are called nail houses. Mm-hmm. You'll see those stories about, a couple in China didn't want to sell their house, so they built a highway around it. Mm-hmm. And it makes you think like people actually have
rights,
rights, and they actually can like have rights to those lands. But it's actually not true. There's a reason why you don't see any new stories about this. That was something that happened in the past, and it was due to rural farm collectives. Because in China, nobody's allowed to own the land.
Correct.
The government owns all land,
Correct.
But rural farm collectives can own land as well,
Correct.
at least to some degree. And it was people that were part of those rural farm collectives that refused to sell refused to move out of their parcels. And that's why they stayed. But that's gone now. They've written that out of law. You can't do that anymore. So you'll never see that again.
More entertaining is when the villagers will get huge hordes of fireworks and actually battle like bulldozers.
Yes.
It's pretty epic. We've actually done a whole episode.
Yeah, we have. Anyway, let's continue. This we thought was quite hilarious. And hilarious because we've been in this exact situation before.
Like 100 times.
Yeah.
What's happening?
What's happening here is this guy's tired of getting stuck in traffic because you've got people coming the wrong way on the other side, blocking traffic. He's obviously just had it. He's had it with the stop and go. He's completely stuck all the time. He's like, okay, that's it. I'm just going to go off the road and go around this. I'm going to figure out what's going on here. I think we've all had that fantasy.
Yeah.
You're stuck in traffic. You're like, what's holding this up?
Yeah. Let me get to the front of this.
Yes. Let's just figure it out. I'm getting off the road here.
This is the way.
Yes. And he's just, all right.
Turn it down. Maybe this music's...
Oh, it's maybe copywritten.
Yeah, who knows?
He's like, oh, look, it's just a pile of dirt. I think, look, other people have gone over it already.
Rampant.
Yeah. But you see how people have doubled up on that side
Oh, I
as
see.
well?
Yeah, they blocked.
Yeah.
So there's only one lane now.
Yeah, and you see up ahead, they'd also, look, they've all come in this lane as well.
Yeah, so no one can go the right direction.
It's just, now he can't even go in his own lane if he wanted to because the cars are all coming on that side. So he's like, okay, round two.
Kind of based.
Yeah.
Kind of based.
I
Usually I don't like when people break the rules because it causes these problems, but the people that broke the rules caused this problem.
We used to we were on motorcycles, so we could do this in China. We could go around by getting off the road or splitting through. Yeah. But yeah, look at how he's had it. You get angry, right?
Yes.
I mean, just take a look at all the cars though in his lane. Man, I think he really broke something there.
He's mad.
Yeah, he's just like, that's enough. Yeah. Oh, he found the end of it, but I guess now he can't get back on because there's a huge ridge.
Oh yeah.
So he's looking for an opportunity to get back on. Oh man, we've got such a good companion to this. Did you put the sleeping one in?
I think it's later. Yeah.
Okay, later. Yeah, we got such a brilliant companion to this video. We'll show you guys hopefully later in the episode.
Yeah.
Look, he found a place where he can get back on over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Off he goes. Freedom.
Freedom.
These things could be avoided. What on earth is happening here?
I want you to tell me.
I mean, this is
Can you
obviously
try and explain.
It's qigong, or it's basically when older middle-aged people get together in the park to do exercises. They usually follow a trend. Ooh, hang on. I gotta.
Don't look.
No, we don't want to
Don't
lose.
look, don't look, don't
Okay.
look, don't look.
So they follow a trend, and you'll usually get like a leader who's
Yes.
like a master, and he will tell the others like, "Look, this is a very good exercise to do," and then everybody follows him.
Yeah.
And I sometimes think they just make things up.
I think almost every time.
They're just like, if you bend in this way, it's going to improve your chi or whatever.
Well, that's how you get the ball punchers, dude.
Yeah.
There's a whole mystical Chinese martial art of punching yourself in the balls, not
Yes.
other people.
Yes, yourself.
And so they go like this. Whoa, they put on these robes and they go, whoa, and they smack themselves
Yes.
in the balls. And they actually have masters, and people will go and pay and live with the master to learn ball smacking.
Yeah.
Then it progresses into ball swinging, where they actually tie weights and people to balls, and then they swing them.
It's ridiculous.
I don't get it. I did a whole video on it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Anyway, this is just one of those things. But now the next thing might be a shocker. But when you buy street food in China, you got to know where this stuff is prepared, all right? You just got to know. So you can see this is a muddy tile floor. Okay, it's pretty gross. What's worse is the guy is preparing... This looks like it could be a restaurant, by the way. He's got an apron on.
There was a bit of a missed opportunity back there when I said ball smack.
Oh, yes, sorry. I'll just...
Sorry. Okay, go ahead. Continue.
So anyway, yeah, this guy is cleaning the pork on the floor, but that's not the worst part. The worst part is it's actually in the bathroom next to the urinals.
Yeah, the urinals, and it's so wet. Oh, I guess it's his hose.
Well, pork is...
He's he's using water to clean. It looks like actually he's you know what he's doing?
What?
I can tell.
What?
He's putting the hose into intestines
Oh, to wash out
to
all
wash them out. So that's
But-
actually shit coming out of there.
It makes sense, but again, like when you look at the... Sorry. Wait. When-
What is it? The link between those two
Yeah,
videos.
yeah, exactly. I'm sorry, but like this floor is pretty disgusting. That's obviously there's a lot of foot traffic in and out of this, and maybe it's raining or it's a muddy puddle or it's the garbage that
Or
he's
it's
washing.
the shit coming out of the intestines.
It's entirely possible, but that's where your food in your restaurant or / street food is being prepared. Just so you know.
Oftentimes, yes.
Yes, obviously not all the time.
你觉得现在中国最
Okay. Maybe we should quickly talk about this. This recently, an interviewer went around to different high schools in China.
On Little Red Book.
Yeah, Little Red Book. You know that one? The one.
Red
what's
Note.
it? Red Note.
Yeah.
That
A happy, fun app where you're sharing cat stories and linking the two cultures of China and America together.
Yeah, so they went to a bunch of middle schools, high schools, sorry, and asked these high school students, who do you think is China's biggest enemy right now?
Why are you asking kids that anyway?
Yeah.
You're like, can you imagine going to an American school and being like, who's your biggest enemy right now?
Yeah, to like kids.
Yeah.
Anyway,
大
here are
的敌
the
人
answers.
是谁？
最大敌人肯定美国。
China's biggest enemy is definitely the U.S., the United States of America. Nice. This is on Little Red Book, by the way. This is what everybody gets to watch over here because,
我呀，
they
你
can.
觉得我国现在最大的敌人是谁？
美国。
Typical.
Before this is ever taken out of context, by the way, they're using the word diren in Chinese, which
Yeah.
literally means enemy. This isn't
Yeah.
opponent
Yes,
or
this isn't like
current
who's-
economic adversary.
No, it's enemy, as in,
Wartime.
wartime enemy.
Yes.
Like the person that you kill on the other side. Like
Yes.
it's the Germans versus the UK, in World War II. That type of thing. Who is the enemy?
觉得应该是美国。
你觉
Yeah, it's
得现在
America.
中国最大的敌人是谁？
日本。
Oh, that guy broke the
He's
trend
the
and said,
outlier, yeah.
he said Japan.
Yeah. That was the old enemy.
Yeah, I have to say, I'm getting a little sick and tired of this. I cannot stand this because I don't believe that you should treat people as your enemy unless they actually are. Like if they were attacking you and dropping bombs on your cities and stuff, yeah, they're your enemy. But let's face it, I don't teach my kid to hate Chinese people or to hate China because China's not, I don't believe China is, well, an enemy, although their government definitely is.
Well, acting like one, I
Yeah.
should say.
But how long do we have to sit here and take this where they're in your face teaching their kids, teaching their entire nation that the United States is their enemy, but we treat them like friends? When does it get to the point where they keep calling you an enemy where you actually turn around and call them an enemy back? When does that start happening? When do you...
It's not a good thing. It shouldn't happen.
No, but I mean, when does the compassion stop?
There always has to be compassion because that's what good guys do.
Right.
When you act like the enemy, you do enemy things.
Yeah.
And when you're the good guy, you don't act like an enemy, right?
I know.
You be the good guy. The people are not the enemy. These kids are certainly not the
Sure.
enemy, but that is certainly what the Chinese government is teaching them right now.
But right now, those kids think that American people are the enemy. They think America is the enemy. They're being taught that. And the entire nation...
school.
Yeah, in school. The entire nation thinks that.
Wake up.
Yeah.
Like this is not about retaliation. This is about how to look at China from reality, right? 'Cause
China thinks you're the enemy.
Chinese state media is now telling everyone in the world that they are the victim and that they're so oppressed and everyone's trying to bully them and everything, and all they want to do is cooperate and be friends. And they're not teaching their own people that.
No, they're not teaching their own people to cooperate and be friends.
no.
They're teaching their own people to be
prepping.
nasty.
They're prepping them.
To attack, to hate.
They're prepping them for wartime scenario. You know?
So according to Chinese high school students, and of course this is just the tip of the iceberg, we showed the little middle school students and younger all being taught that America's the enemy, and remember those songs they're singing?
Yeah.
Guys, China thinks America's the enemy. Every level of society now in China has been taught to hate America and to hate the people of the US. So you got to wake up and you've got to realize that they think you're the enemy, whether you think they're the enemy or not, basically. Anyway, you know who's really an enemy?
This guy.
This manager.
Yeah.
Okay, so for those of you who may be listening to this for some odd reason and not watching, and I don't understand why you do that, there's a cubicle. And it has an air conditioner. One of those heat pump type air conditioners where you've got the unit outside that's got the condenser and the compressor. And then inside, of course, you've got the nice cool blowing breeze part of it, right? Now, the way this works, for those of you who don't know how air conditioning works, is it transfers the cool air out of this outside in using the gas exchange, and it basically takes the heat from inside the cubicle and transfers it out. So if you go near to that little condenser compressor thing, it's blowing really hot air. So it's actually making the surrounding area hot. If anyone's ever walked past one of those things and wonder why it's blowing all this hot air.
That's how energy works.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm oversimplifying it. Our audience isn't that dumb. There's a reason why I'm saying this, though, is because this is... You'll see. This is inside a factory floor, where apparently, according to the people there, it was 40 degrees C, which is what?
104 degrees Fahrenheit.
104 degrees Fahrenheit. So the people on the assembly line, and you can see they've got standing fans, those like useless standing fans trying to keep them cool while they're dying of heat, while their manager gets to sit in his little ice cubicle blowing hot air and making them all hotter.
I think that's actually a poetic... It's a poetic analogy to how China runs, is that the government coddles and protects CCP officials that get to do everything and own everything and break every rule, while everyone else is subject to these archaic and stifling laws.
Yes, like the general populace,
The Communist Party's laws.
I mean, look at these poor people. They're sitting there working on an assembly line and in this oppressive heat, dying of heat stroke, basically, and this annoying manager gets to sit in his little cool box. Now, if that's not a reason to, revolt, I don't know what is.
We have a lot of proof that this is potentially leading to that. But then burning these factories
Yes,
down.
exactly.
Yes.
Okay, so...
Play this uninterrupted. First.
Okay, uninterrupted. We're just going to play it.
不睡，我一睡觉你就打呼噜，这样子玩是吧？
Play it one more time.
Okay, I'll play it one more time. That's hilarious. That's some good humor.
If you're listening, there's two dorm mates.
Yes.
And the guy goes, when I don't sleep, you don't sleep, but when I fall asleep, you start snoring.
Yes.
And he goes, is that how it's gonna be? Mm-hmm. And so he tries to get revenge and tried to wake him up with a giant shadow.
Yeah, so he's cast his shadow just above the guy's bed, so just as a joke. It's pretty funny.
我一睡觉你就打呼噜，这样子玩是吧？
I love his reaction.
I'd react in the same way.
That would scare the shit out of you.
Absolutely. Oh, it's time for COVID memories. It's a little segment that we have where we remind people that COVID was just around the corner. you know, in the past.
Yeah. China. And in China, what they did was to stop the spread, was to weld people into their homes, where they eventually some of them starved to death.
Starved and burned to
Yeah,
death.
burned to death. Sorry, I forgot that.
Because they couldn't escape, yeah.
Just a good COVID memory, just to always remind you where COVID came from and what China did in response to it, the most inhumane things that in modern times. Really.
Traumatized the entire population of China.
Yeah.
And did these terrible things, but for some reason people have now forgotten because Fauci or something.
Yeah, or because the Chinese government made it kind of illegal to even talk about COVID anymore.
Yeah.
Because they want to
Exactly.
pretend like it didn't happen.
Yeah. So we just wanted to remind people this is what China got up to. Welding people in their own apartments. Anyone who ever thinks that China has a free society has to remember that.
What about this?
Yeah, what about this?
This is some sort of competition for like accounting.
That is insane.
It is actually insane skill, but it's also like, can you pause it? Can you imagine that your friend goes, I play basketball. Your other friend goes, oh, I'm actually more of a swimmer. Your other friend goes, you know what? I'm not into sports, but I play chess. Your other friend goes, I'm wicked good on the calculator.
Yeah, I mean,
Yo, time me. And then they have a competition.
yeah, I mean, that's impressive either way, I gotta say. It's
yes.
kind of like, you know, when someone does a Rubik's Cube in like a few seconds or a
Yes.
split second or whatever.
Yeah.
It's always very impressive. Not a skill I ever care to attain, but very impressive.
Very, very impressive. That is wild.
Yeah.
我现在在正常的做拉伸，对吧？
Okay, what's going on here?
So this guy, this is him watching security footage back.
Yes.
Okay, so this Chinese guy goes to the gym, and he goes to report it to the security because he wants to review the security footage for
Because something went wrong.
to explain what's about to happen, right? So
Okay.
he's watching himself.
Right.
He says, "Just you don't need to pause it."
Okay.
Bro, I was just here doing stretches,
然后这个女的，我不知道她有
and
啥
then this
病。
girl, I don't know WTF is
我都不认识
wrong
她。
with her. I don't even know who
但是
she
她就过来直接
is. She
抱
just
住我的
came
腿，
over and lifted up my legs
把我
and
直接给
just
推
took
走
me
了。
away.
I
Two
mean,
我都无语
There's
了。
two angles.
I mean, what?
Can we see it again?
Yeah, that's actually
I won't
really funny.
translate this time,
Okay,
yeah.
all right, that's actually really funny. I'm sorry, but yeah.
What was he doing? You know what he was just trying to do though?
What? Just try to
我
stretch,
现在在
No, he was. What do you do in the gym?
just flex,
No,
pump and iron.
no. He was
What?
just. He
What?
was just
He was just what?
trying to elicit something from you.
Well, what are you trying
He
to?
was just.
working out.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get it. Where is
I
it? Here we
just
go.
got golf.
Just working out.
All right.
Come on.
All right, fine.
right up
Just
there. That was a
fine.
silver
Yes,
platter.
okay,
然后这个
okay.
女的，我不知道她有啥病，我都不认识她，但是她就过来直接抱住我的腿，哎，把我直接给推走了，啊，我都无语了。
I love the second angle.
Yeah, no. Can you imagine? Like you're like, what's going on here?
That's so good.
Yeah,
Look at this. This dude.
yeah.
He's trying to get his food delivered, but he can't go down. He's working on a building.
Yes.
Tofu Drag Construction. And so he used the
crane to bring it up.
actually put his food on a hook.
Yeah, on a piece of rebar.
Oh!
it fell?
Oh, he dropped it.
Oh well. Oh, didn't we just have this?
We got a replay?
Is that just a reminder?
Don't forget not to live in China.
Okay.
That's your reminder today.
Anyway, time for a word, guys,
Absolutely.
from our really cool partner here.
Yes, I have some massive news to share with you all. AG1 has just launched their next generation. The same single scoop once a day, but now with more vitamins and minerals and upgraded probiotics. And it's clinically backed by 4 human clinical trials. They have seriously gone the distance to raise the standard in supplement testing. AG1's Next Gen is now one of the most clinically backed greens powders, and it's fantastic. We've been using AG1 for years now.
Yeah, good. It's a good product.
What can you say? How does it make you feel?
Well, it gives you those extra vitamins and so on that I know I don't get through my usual diet.
Nutritional
Yeah,
gaps.
exactly. Really helps me out when I have it. It got rid of my brain fog I was experiencing for a long time. And at least gives me that good feeling that I'm doing something healthy because I don't have a very good diet, let's be honest.
I think especially with people that are busy, the idea that within a minute, under a minute, you can drink something that has completely covered every nutritional gap that you have in
Yep.
your life and you're set up for the rest of the day.
Correct.
You are setting yourself up to be healthy. It's fantastic stuff. We've really loved it. It's changed our lives. And it's something we can put our name behind because we use it ourselves.
Correct. And we wouldn't be talking about it if we didn't.
That's right. Now, clinically backed with an advanced formula, this is the perfect time to try AG1 if you haven't yet. We've been drinking AG1 for a few years now, so I'm happy that we are partnering with them. This guy is too, definitely.
Yes.
So subscribe today to try the next generation of AG1. Next Gen AG1. If you use our link, you'll also get a free bottle of AG D3K2 and an AG1 Welcome Kit and 5 of the upgraded AG1 travel packs with your first order. So make sure you check out drinkag1.com/ADV and get started with AG1's Next Gen. And notice the benefits yourself. That's drinkag1.com/ADV.
And thank you once again to AG1 for sponsoring this video.
What do we got going on here? This guy definitely drinks this AG1. This guy coming up.
This coming up guy.
He's an athlete.
Yes.
He stops this ball. Pretty impressive, right?
That's very impressive, yeah.
He's like, whatever.
Okay.
It's
Soft power. This is
power!
where we talk about how China's trying to change your mind, specifically through propaganda, etc. And of course, we have to start out with good old Da Huo Pang Wang.
Yes.
And let's see what's going on.
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
Sick funk you got going on there.
Oh, yeah. But first, buses.
Whoa! All right, hold on. What's going on here?
Buses.
Okay.
You know, it's very interesting how things seem to always happen in groups in China. And I mentioned this last week, but you see a bunch of things going wrong, and it always seems to be like, I don't know, this week, fire hydrants are all going to be broken. Next week, you know, I don't know, electricity fires are going to be high. We had buses, strangely enough, just catching fire around China.
Bit of a typo there.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that.
Sorry, it's just when you hit. You know when you hit something twice?
Hit it twice, yeah. So what we're looking over here is April 30th, okay? Just at the end of last month in Nanjing, we got this bus.
That is loud.
I'm sorry, that is super loud. Let me try to turn that down. Okay. Yeah, I know it's loud. Now, it would be kind of strange if it was just, I mean, it would be normal if it would just be one bus catching on fire. And yeah, they do catch on fire. This is something that happens fairly often in China. You got EV buses catch on fire. Not only just the EV ones, the normal ones do, because they get really abused. I think is the right word. If you've ever lived in southern China, you know those buses, they're running 24/7. It's very hot and humid.
Yeah.
And they're running the AC all the time, and they're just non-stop in that heat. And of course, you know, fires break out. Anyway, so this is the Nanjing bus. And then a day or two later, let's see, we'll get past it over here. As far as I know, there were no...
I actually have PTSD.
Yeah, from
about
the
those
noise.
horns.
Yeah, okay.
I'll explain.
Sorry, take a look at all the people walking down the side of the road. This is May 1st in Yunnan. Okay, so far away from Nanjing. You're like, why are all these people walking on the side of the road? What's going on here? You know? Is it a marathon? No, just their bus caught fire.
Walking on the highway marathon.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But no, their bus caught fire. So yeah, just saying it's interesting that bus fires seem to be all clustered. There were a couple of others, but you know, for the sake of brevity, I decided we'd cut to the chase.
I promise we'll get to the factory stuff because that's all intentional and that's like kind of end of days for a country type of behavior.
Yes.
Buses are not. We wanted to catch you up on this. And I also wanted to tell you about buses for a second.
Sure.
They are terrifying in
yes.
China. A lot of people carry puke bags with them because they drive absolutely insane. But those specific air horns, and I think I've told this story before, but everyone was asleep on the bus. And the windows were open instead of using the AC. It was dead of summer. It was so freaking hot. And I was just sitting there already car sick as hell.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, it's weaving around traffic and stuff. And it laid on that emergency air horn.
Yeah, which is normal, by the way.
Which is normal.
Yeah.
All of them have this. And it was so loud, it actually hurt. Like, you know when your ear hurts? It actually hurt my ear, right?
Yeah.
And I look around. And everyone is still sleeping. It was like jarring to where you feel it in your body.
Yeah.
and your heart like jumps out of your chest.
Yes, it's a crazy air horn.
Yes, and I looked over at my wife, and she was still asleep, and I go, "What is wrong with you?" And no one woke up.
You have to build up a tolerance for this stuff, apparently. But yeah, it's if you have sensitivity to noises, China's not the place for you.
No.
Anyway, now let's get on to the actual factory things. This is the main topic of today's episode. We've seen another rash of factory fires, but it's kind of crazy. Let's take a quick look. So May 2nd, a couple days ago,
Yes.
in Haining in Zhejiang, this Qianjiang industrial zone caught fire. And what
It's a
is
big industrial
Yeah,
zone.
can you just read off some of the products that are made in this area?
So first of all, just quickly,
Yes.
this was most likely intentional.
Yes.
Due to either wage disputes.
Yes, wage. Here's the thing. Lots of people have not been paid wages recently, and that's
Yes.
because of the economic downturn with the tariffs. A lot of product can't be shipped out anymore. So the bosses are trying to delay payment because they want to have cash flow. So they're
Yeah.
not paying their staff.
So before we get into that real quick, I just want people to have some mental perspective. If a factory was arsoned on purpose in the US or wherever you're from, do you not think it would make major news?
It would.
We're about to show you a lot of intentional destruction, anarchic behavior
Yes.
from Chinese people that are fed up because thousands, if not millions of people right now in China are not getting paid.
That's right.
The tariffs are hurting super hard.
Yeah.
And the Chinese government is already facing serious economic downturn. In fact, there's a huge bank scandal right now.
Yeah.
Started last year. Anyway, this particular industrial zone is massive.
Yeah.
Right. So this was set on fire, from what people are saying, and they're saying that this was probably intentional. LED tubes, fixtures, halogen bulbs, decorative bulbs, fluorescent lamps, paddle boards, gym mats, yoga mats. I don't know why I just emphasized that.
Yeah.
Yoga mats.
Yeah, it's because
even those.
it's your specialty. You love yoga.
I'm very flexible.
Yeah, exactly.
Rubber metal dampers. Ooh. Knitting specialty yarns and different colored yarns.
Yep.
Wow. Petrochemicals, biomedicines, new energy and new materials. What we're trying to get at here is Xinjiang makes everything.
Yes,
This
this particular
industrial zone is like-
inside this industrial zone, yeah, they make pretty much everything. What else?
They make they're a big producer of all the fabric that's used to make flags,
Yeah.
like international flags and Chinese flags. Banner fabric, display fabric, backlight fabric, PVC, textiles, all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Tarps.
And this particular area
Yeah, I'll get
is
it back
known
to it.
for its leather industry. It's actually the biggest leather industry in China.
Yeah.
Is up in flames potentially. Textile fabrics, lamination stuff, synthetic leather like PU leather.
Yeah.
You know that fake stuff you get, like it's like imitation leather or whatever.
Yes, exactly.
And then advertising materials. So like this kind of stuff is potentially up in flames here.
Yeah.
Xinjiang Industrial Zone and Zhejiang in general, this whole province is one of China's biggest manufacturing hubs.
Yeah.
It's also one of the wealthiest areas. So if they're not getting paid, there's a big problem.
Yeah.
You're not going to see stories coming from like the interior.
No. Same day
Yeah.
in Nanning
Nanning.
in Guangxi. Okay, what happened here in this Pinglu Industrial Park? There was a plastic packaging factory.
Yes. So this
And-
is crazy. This is what's making all the stuff that's comes in packages.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So what happened here was some worker got hurt. This is
Yeah.
according to netizens. He got injured on the job.
Been pulled, by the way.
Yeah, as they all do. And you'll see why. We're actually going to show you, like, in real time how this stuff gets
Yes.
pulled
Yes.
shortly. So this guy got workplace injury, which is very common in China because, workplace safety is never adhered to, ever. In fact, I used to do work at a hospital in Xiajing in Shenzhen, which specialized in hand injuries. This whole big hospital.
It was like a hand hospital.
It was a hand hospital just for hands. And that's because there were many factories in that area and people would get like their fingers or their hands mangled or their fingers cut off or whatever because they're working with machinery.
You took me there. Remember we looked outside and the people lined up outside the hospital all had mangled hands. And I was like, what the? They were standing in the street.
Yeah, no. And I used to work inside the hospital and the horrors that I've seen.
I saw it on the street.
Because there's something about a mangled hand because you can relate.
It's
right?
very relatable. Everyone's got a hand.
Yeah, exactly. When you're like, hands shouldn't be in that position.
Not all of us have ears, but we all got hands.
Yeah, exactly. But you don't see your ears, but you see your hand every day.
And you use it so much.
Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, look, when it comes to workplace injuries, unfortunately, there's very little importance placed on the workers in China. And so they get workplace injuries. This guy was injured at work at this factory. The boss refused to pay him compensation, for his injury. So he set the place on fire.
Yeah, remember in China, your life is only worth something if you are a CCP official or if you are incredibly rich.
Yeah.
If you are not just a blue collar worker, anyone else.
Pretty much anyone.
In Chinese, it's called 老百姓.
Yes.
老百姓means old 100 names. It
Yes.
means, and what that actually means is just the average person.
Yeah.
老百姓, the average person in China, suffers so immensely.
Yeah.
It's at the hands of the Chinese government and at the hands of their tyrants, like these factory directors.
Correct.
So yeah, he set this place on fire in this industrial park as well in Nanning.
Yeah, exactly. Costing millions and millions of dollars worth of damage just because the boss was too cheap to pay like a couple $100 for his thing. Okay, this is on May 3rd in Jinan, Shandong. We have another factory fire. And what is made here?
So this area makes industrial trucks, steel products, tons of steel products, CNC machines.
Yeah.
Pet food machines, and what that means is like pet food, like the machinery used to make pet food.
Yeah, so it'll be
Not like an auto feeder.
Yeah, no, not an auto feeder. So it'll like cut the little cubes or whatever. You put the I don't know, feed in there, whatever you'd call it, and it chops it up and compresses it. Yeah.
Actually, also the snack food machinery. Can you
Yeah.
pause it there? I just want to. I'm trying to wrap my head around this.
Yeah.
You have now shown me 3 major industrial parks of China.
Yeah.
This just doesn't just affect China. Like, oh, let's say you just tuned in, you're like, oh, China's a faraway place.
Yeah.
This is the places in the industrial parks that make your stuff.
That's
it's
right.
making your stuff. In fact, one of these was a big American partnership thing.
Yeah.
It's just crazy for me to wrap my head around the idea that I'm watching huge industrial zones go up in flames on purpose and nobody on the news or anywhere is talking about this.
Yeah, I mean, just the amount of arson. And I'm sorry, but if you had even one McDonald's or something burned down, like something
like a
in a
disgruntled
neighborhood,
worker or something.
it would make the news.
Times that by 10,000.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about a McDonald's. We're talking about a place that is making everything for the world.
Yeah, this is real footage. This is not AI manipulated. This is no green screen. There's nothing like this. Is real footage that Chinese people are filming and getting out of China. Yeah. This is the real deal. This is happening all over China. These different places we've just named are literally across the entire map. So again, it's not a concentrated area where like there's an incident happening. It's not like the LA riots that only happened in LA.
Sure.
This is countrywide that factories are being set on fire and burning down.
Yeah, and it's not like oops, we had a little accident.
No, this is major
that's right.
damage.
We need to take this down. That's like that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Absolutely insane. So huge. Jinan's massive industrial. We've both been there. Very huge industrial area.
I got a friend who lives there.
Very uncomfortable city, and I'll tell you why. Shandong is Qingdao is right next, fairly close to it.
Yeah.
And that's on the coast, and it's got 4 seasons. It's mild weather and everything. And Jinan, even though it's in northern China, it's bitter cold in the winter and freaking hot in the summer. It's so
weird.
hot.
Yeah. So what have we got next on the list?
Next, we got on May 6th, it was in Baici in Guangxi.
Yes.
So all the way down
May
south.
6th, yeah. So, yeah.
Another
Again,
one.
this is a supply depot that caught fire. So not a factory, but a supply depot. So this is where all the supplies go and get picked up. So if you need to
surrounded by
go,
factories.
yeah, of course. If you need to go get your aluminium pipes and you need to get your building materials, that type of thing, you'll go here. So this is, another big arson, and it's a huge thing to burn down because everybody's going there to get their building materials or whatever they need.
Yeah, and most likely this is aluminum production.
Yeah.
Because Baici in Guangxi is known for being one of China's biggest aluminum production hubs, not just in the ore mines, which they do have, but also in the final production as well. So
correct.
that probably was related to aluminum production.
Yeah, in some way or the other. But there you can see all the material, shops where people go pick up this and that, the next thing for their construction projects or whatever is happening.
The fact
Or
that
it gets shipped out.
The fact that every week we have something to show you with this, it's like,
Yeah,
I mean, why is this not ringing alarm bells globally?
yeah.
Like, it's unrest in China right now, but everyone somehow seems to think that China's got everything on lockdown and like everything's figured out and it's
Living in the future.
living in the future or something, and the people are revolting.
Yeah,
It's nuts.
yeah. Who's really revolting is the government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's from that perspective.
Yes.
Yeah. I
Okay.
agree with you.
So now here you got something that happened yesterday, an oil tanker
Yeah.
in Henan.
Yeah.
on fire in the road. And I mean, that's probably just an accident, but you know, it's another big thing. I'm pretty sure if an oil tanker...
Well, it was fire related. So
yeah, exactly. If an oil tanker exploded on the streets of Chicago or something, you'd know about it.
You would.
Yeah.
It's pretty big.
It's a pretty big
explosion.
deal, right?
Again, economically and like for the future of the world is not a big deal, but
Yeah.
it was fire related.
Yeah, you know,
I
just
checked it in there.
threw it in there. Here's the thing, though. You're about to see why this stuff is so insidious in a minute.
The most important clip of this entire show is about to come up.
Yeah. And you'll also see why you don't hear about these things most of the time.
And in a way, it's directly connected to us. It's directly connected to what we do.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to prevent this kind of stuff getting out to people like us.
Yeah.
We'll put it online and show people what's really happening. For the benefit of the Chinese people, they're trying to get their voices out, just like your woman you're about to see.
Yep.
It will explain a lot, won't it?
yes, it will.
Give us a thumbs up, by the way, on the video if you're enjoying the stream. If you want to support us, it helps get it to more people's eyes.
Yeah.
Click like, it's free.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't click like for what you're seeing.
No, of
Click
course
like
not.
for the whole show experience.
Yes, exactly.
Should have said click like on maybe one of the funny clips.
Probably, but it's
flame-
fine.
not
I mean,
flaming
you
wreckage.
say like if you've got a fiery spirit.
If you got a fire in your heart and you want to release the fire,
Yeah, exactly.
burn the like button, please.
So hopefully this video spreads like wildfire. That was terrible. Sorry, I apologize.
That's actually, yeah.
I apologize for making a bad joke. It's fine. No one died in this incident, so it's okay. Yeah. It's going on pretty long, isn't it?
It is. It's really interesting how long this is going on.
I guess that's what happens when you set fire to oil.
Yeah, we could speed it up.
It's possible.
It is possible. We do have the technology.
But it's okay, because it's now beyond the Great Firewall.
Here we
Now
are.
is the important
Pay
clip.
attention to this one.
Okay, so I think we should just play this without stopping and without commenting.
And we'll explain it.
Should we get ourselves out of here? Is
Yeah,
it-
yeah, play
okay.
it
All right.
first.
Okay, watch this, guys. Super
This
important.
is very important.
Okay.
已经进去人了，我看几个人能控制住。我是热心市民啊，看看这着那么大的火，然后呢，我来到这以后呢，我就是第一时间打了119，看见没？这火很大，我先录个视频怎么了？看见没？这火多大？然后我打了119的这个消防人员让我拍个视频，发给他，再给他发个位置，因为这个火势真的太大了。然后我来了以后呢。有一个人告诉我不让我拍视频，然后说这个火势已经控制住了。这个火势那么大，怎么能控制住呢？而且还直接问我是哪村的，我真是无语了。我就是一个热心市民，我就打这个119，我就打一个119，火势那么大，居然告诉我火势控制住了，居然告诉我人员已经去了，还问我是哪村的，还在质疑我是哪村的。我的天呐，着的火那么大，居然不让打119，还担心受处分，还问我是哪个村的。我的天呐！这着的火那么大，还担心自己头上的乌纱帽吗？
Pause that.
Okay, I'll go back.
So we don't. Yeah, you don't have to just.
I'll get to the part. Yeah.
已经去了，还问我是哪村的，还在质疑我是哪村的。我的天呐，着的火那么大，居然不让打119，还担心受处分，还问我是哪个村的。我的天呐，这着的火那么大，还担心自己头上的乌纱帽吗？
Okay.
So this is very interesting and important to explain. So what happened here is this woman found a fire, right? She obviously
Well,
wanted
she
to
saw
report
this
it,
massive
right?
fire. Yeah.
I'm just translating directly in Chinese.
Yeah.
She said, anyway, 找到了大火. She finds this big fire and she calls 119, which is the emergency department.
Yeah, that's the fire department.
Yeah. So the firefighters are like, "Oh, crap! Like, send me your location,
And a video. So yeah, we'll be there.
So she does this, but there is a guy there, which I'll explain to you what he most likely is. We've come to the conclusion.
Yeah, the
what he
ones
is.
that are blurred out here, by the way,
Yes.
because she'd get into trouble if she showed who it was.
Yes. She's flabbergasted when they tell her to stop filming, that everything's already been taken care of. The firefighters are already dealing with this currently.
Yeah, but there's no firefighters
There's
there.
no firefighters there. And then started to ask her, tried to ID her.
Yeah,
Where's
what
your
village are you
village?
from? Yeah, you know, where are you
to
from?
try to find out how to find
Punish
her
her,
later and
yes.
punish her later. Because what's happening here is she is not supposed to be filming any sort of disaster
She should not be reporting that there's a
or
fire.
reporting. Not even just filming, reporting. You can't
Yes.
report. She can't do the right thing and call the police or the fire department, because what that does is it gets the CCP officials of the town or the city in trouble, because in China, if you have a disaster, you get punished for
You
it.
actually get fined.
Yes.
Your local village. So, you've got your local governments, right? It's all part of the central government. It's the same government, but it's like a branch, right? So there, in the village, you've got your CCP officials who are in charge of that village. If your village has a natural disaster of some kind, or some kind of a disaster like a fire, you get a fine from the central government. They will actually penalize you, and they'll
Because it made
withhold
China look
funds.
bad.
Yeah, because you allowed a disaster or something. So what they try to do is suppress any kind of disaster. And I mean, you can understand how bad this gets. If there's a flood, if people die because of disease, if there's anything that happens, they don't allow the news to get out, because that means they will get into trouble with the central government.
And therefore, the problem is never rectified.
Yes.
That's how you get villages where every man, woman, and child has cancer.
Yes.
Because of pollution and runoff from said factory.
Yeah.
People can't do anything about it, because if they bring it up with the government, which they are legally allowed to do, they get shut down and punished and silenced. So she's going to get punished
Yes.
for reporting a fire which could spread and kill people.
Yeah, and I mean, burn their whole village down.
Yes.
And that's the thing. You don't just leave a big fire like that burning, because it's out in the rural areas, you
Correct.
know. The wind picks up or anything, it's going to just keep going, wipe out farms.
Yeah, so the focus is not, oh, wow, the CCP fines villages and towns and cities for having disasters. The focus is the outcome of that, right?
Yes.
It's the product of that.
Censorship of people trying to do the right thing.
Right. So you end up in a situation where China burns down. China has all these horrific problems. They get swept under the rug, and then they get rid of the people that try to bring it to people's attention. And this could be seen perfectly in the social credit system. The social credit system in China punishing people for doing behaviors that the government doesn't like, right? They remove your social credit points, and then you can't send your kids to school and things like that, right?
Yes.
Insane stuff, like literal Black Mirror stuff.
Why do
right?
you think any videos coming out of China, and I'm talking Xiaohongshu, and of course YouTube, if you've got a foreigner or any Chinese person or whatever within China posting onto social media, whatever platform, TikTok, why do you think it's all positive? Why do you think you don't see any criticism of the Chinese government coming out of China?
Because of this.
Because
right?
you're not allowed to. And the people that tried to do it get stopped, censored, and disappeared.
Correct. So like what I was saying with the social credit system, you are technically in the constitution in China allowed to petition the central government in Beijing. Technically in the constitution, you're allowed to say, I have this grievance, go to the Hall of the People. That's a communist government, right? Copy of the Soviet Union.
Exactly.
But the Chinese government hates when people do that.
Yeah.
And they actually want to get rid of people that do that, because you're not allowed to have any dissent in China.
Yeah.
So what they do is the local governments will actually take away your social credit points if you go to Beijing to petition a problem. So even though it's in the constitution that you can do that, you actually legally get into trouble in China if you do it.
Yeah, well, just like we showed you, what was it last week, where they just pull out you're allowed to have your grievances, but no, they'll go and pull out these big tarps to block you so people can't see you. They just censor you. And just like this, they censor the disasters. They do not allow news of these fires or so on to get out. And you know what? They will just remove it off social media.
Yeah,
Like
but-
if people post this stuff, it gets removed and the people get punished.
Yeah, I was going to say, the thing that people don't focus on is the aftermath, because you don't get to see a follow-up after this.
Nope.
And if you do, it's not going to be a follow-up about this. It'll be a long time later, and then the woman or whoever is dealing with the situation will be like, oh, anyway, so... Because she'll get visited by the police. The police will say, don't ever do something like this again.
Yes.
Let her off with some sort of punishment, or you'll never hear from her again, and all her social
depends
media
on how
will get banned, and
viral
you'll
it
go to
goes.
jail.
Yeah, depends on how big it is.
So this is kind of a great little window into why you don't see that much anything negative about China, really, because you can't.
Yes.
You can't do it.
Yeah, that's why we're one of the very few sources that can openly criticize the Chinese government, because we don't live in China anymore. That's why one of the main reasons why we had to leave China is so that we could openly criticize the Chinese government, because living in China, you're not allowed to criticize the government or society.
You can't
at
say
all.
one bad thing.
Nope. Absolutely not. If it's not positive and glowing and glazing, then it's not allowed. You know. Anyway.
Anybody that's not supporting, but like giving big ups and props to the Chinese government, show them this segment.
Sure.
It's simple as that.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want this in your country?
Yep.
I don't think so. You
No,
know?
definitely not. So we have a bonus fire, by the way. Happy Valley Theme Park in Shanghai, Huanlegu.
Oh.
You've been to Huanlegu, right? I mean, I went to the one in Shenzhen a few times. It's like a theme park. It's got like water slides and roller coasters, and also This can be quite dangerous.
Well, it's made of very poor
Well,
material.
I mean, there have been deaths in some of these.
Yeah.
You know, we did a whole thing.
We did.
Yeah, remember?
Shaban Ho, right?
Shaban Ho. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on.
On our Patreon.
Yes. So this happened on May the 3rd. Random fire. You know, one of the attractions or part of the... It's like Disneyland. If, let's say you're walking in Disneyland and, I don't know, the house of Snow White or something catches fire.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm sure, you know. It's,
something like that.
It's I mean, I'm saying this happens, you know.
Yeah, of course it happens, yeah.
China does tend to have quite a few more of these things happening all the time.
Correct.
That was your bonus fire.
Yeah, that's a bonus fire. Just thought I'd throw that in there. Look, there were many more fires.
Yeah.
But it's getting a bit much, and I'm worried about people getting fire fatigue.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, you know? Maybe they thought it was part of the fireworks or something.
Maybe.
Yeah.
There was that one. Tourist destination.
Oh, yes.
The whole place went up and people thought it was part of the presentation.
We'll show that. Okay, how about we'll show that as a bonus next time? Because I promise you guys, next week's not going to be a bunch of fires. Because even if there are more fires, we'll mention them, but we won't show them all.
Sure.
Because we've got to focus on other things.
Yes, we got a lot of things to focus on.
Yeah.
All right, we get the idea.
Yeah, I know.
We get the idea.
We do.
That's enough.
Is this like repeating
I
itself?
think so. That's enough.
No, look, it's spreading now.
Oh, it's spreading.
It's
We're
getting
watching
bigger.
The fire get bigger.
Yeah. You know, so that's what you do.
Yeah.
Okay, what's this?
Let's just watch what happens.
Okay, well, you can see a scooter rammed into her leg, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Delivery bike. Yeah.
It's like, oh man, that's gotta hurt.
And it hurts.
He's like, oh, sorry about that. Sorry about your cough over there.
I'm not talking about the cow. Oh.
That's a 1-2.
I call this double kill.
Double kill?
Because you got the...
Oh,
Can you play that all together?
okay, I will. I'll play it.
Uninterrupted? No, it's not your fault. Just I want to see that. No more of this
I know,
Shanghai fire.
no more
I don't
fire.
want to see this ever again.
Yeah, we're done with this.
Get
Shanghai.
out of here.
Happy Valley fire.
It's not very happy. I'm tired of it. I am fatigued of this clip.
Me too.
It's too long.
Here we go. Okay. 1. Oh no. Your shin okay? How about your knee? You good? Like, oh, that's gotta hurt. How about this?
That is
It's kind of brutal.
You know what it is? The scooter goes leg.
Scooter
you know what?
uppercut.
Pause that. You know what that needs?
What?
I think it might be related to Roberts.
You think so?
Yeah, it should have. You know,
Let's
if we
see.
had audio,
Okay. Yeah,
just watch it. It's like
I'll try to pause it.
pause it there, and you know what? You know.
Yeah, okay. I'll find it, of course.
It might have AI in it, like AI Roberts,
Yes, and it's getting revenge.
and it's getting rich. I bet if we track down the audio, it probably would have that in there.
You're probably right.
They all seem to say the same thing.
They do. Slapaganda time, guys. You know what? We forgot to mention, but May Day holidays kicked off last week. This is huge in China.
Yes.
It's there's one unfortunate thing about holidays in China is that they aren't really staggered. And by that I mean, you know, people only get time off when the government says you get time off. So you're kind of used to, in the Western country, you build up your weeks of holiday with your company, right? So you'll be like, okay, maybe you get 2 weeks a year or something, and you can work out your vacation, and then you apply for leave at your company, and they're like, okay, you can go for your family holiday in June or whatever. You figure it out, right? But in China, it doesn't work that way because, you know, it's brutal. People have to work like crazy all the time. You're stuck in a job. The competition's so high. If you even try to take a luxury of a week off sometime, somebody else will take your job. That's how it is. So everyone works, and it's only when there's a national holiday where companies are forced to not stay open.
There's a billion people there.
Yeah. But then that's when people go on holiday. So they all go at the same time.
You want to see what a billion people looks like?
Well, pretty much, because, you know, this is right near. I've been through this specific choke point a couple of times.
Only a million times.
Yeah, a million times. But, you know, let's all go on a holiday. That sounds like a great idea.
That's just nuts. And this is something we saw over and over again.
This is Damesha.
We've both been there many times.
On the 2nd, yeah.
Like, why would you want to go?
You know, I've got a video where I went to that beach
and
I had to use my passport to get onto the beach. And I had to go through an X-ray machine and put my whatever I had through an X-ray
Socialist
machine.
utopia, dude.
Yeah, and you have to, by the way, you have to make an appointment online to go to the beach.
And they still let that many people.
How many? I mean, the fact that these people all made appointments to go to the beach is kind of a crazy idea, isn't it?
盘点五一假期景点的人山人
I
海，
mean,
长
I'm
城。
sorry.
Yeah, we don't
这
need
是在
audio.
爬
turn it
No,
长
I'll
城
turn it down. That's the Great Wall. You know, the usual type thing. We've shown this area before where everyone goes to do the girls.
Look at that. Look at that.
Is that a great idea? I love the. Let's go on a holiday. How about we get out of the city? Let's go to the sand dunes. You know, I heard about this beautiful place. You can stand on a sand dune and take a photo.
By
And
the
it's
way,
all picturesque.
Can we say what that is? That's a line,
Yeah.
right? Those are the people waiting to get in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you see, there's a place. The ticket office is there. You have to also pay to go in there. By the way, look at that nonsense. Then you get on this camel,
Poor camels are
which
worked
have
to death.
traffic lights because there's just too many of them. Okay. It's like this. What was that?
That was
Shiwu.
Hangzhou. Yeah.
Okay.
Shoot.
Yeah. Westlake. I mean, what's the point of going on holiday if you're just going to be a sardine? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We all know Hongyadong, and of course that's Beijing, Forbidden City.
Dude, this is insane. But it's just what we saw all the time in China, to be honest.
Of course, but these holidays, it's a bad idea to let everyone off at the same time. There just isn't enough. Look at that. That's the Bund. Look at the amount of people. You know, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare to
And
travel.
bad things happen, by the way.
Yeah, I mean,
Remember
people
those
get
crushing
trampled,
incidents,
and it does happen. I'm surprised there are not more trampling incidents, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I mean, just you look at the sheer amount of people that are everywhere. Yeah, that's the same clip. Sorry for the repeat. I got from two different compilations here.
Gotcha.
There's a Damesha again on a different day.
Wow, look at that. I mean, that's just my nightmare.
Yeah, I mean,
And we put up with it, but like I hated that.
I've got
part.
footage of myself in
Yes,
those crowds.
me
Remember?
too, yeah. It was
it's like
little dots.
yeah,
and
it's like what the heck? It's just it's awful, and I hope you don't like personal space
yeah, you
because that's
better-
not something that you're going to have.
You will be touched.
Oh yes, you get used to body odor. You get used to
Yeah.
people touching and bumping and remember that's
Yeah.
Xijie in
been there.
Yangshuo.
Yeah.
Yeah, we took a picture
We've
on that
been
bridge.
actually almost every place that's
Every
shown
single
here.
place they've shown we've been. Yeah, every single place so far. There's not one except for that camel place. I haven't been there. How about
I
you?
rode camels, but not there.
Yeah, not there. I haven't been to there's that Camel Hill again.
Camel Hill.
Yeah.
Look at that. I mean, that's just wild.
It's a nightmare. What's the point? What are you doing there? You're not going to get that nice scenic photo.
So you know what's funny?
Yeah.
These videos, the Chinese government hates these. So they
Yes.
used to remove them, and they're actually using them now as propaganda because right now they're really worried that people
That
are.
hill.
They're really worried that people think that nobody has money, right?
yeah.
So they're like, look at all the people. They're spending so much money by traveling all around China. It costs nothing to go to these places. And they're doing it domestically. They're not doing expensive abroad trips,
Yes.
right? They're doing it on a dime.
Yeah, it's very cheap to travel within China.
Yeah, number two, there's a billion people there.
Yeah.
So even if they were amidst a Great Depression, those tourist areas would be packed like sardines no matter what.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just, I can tell you right now, during the financial crisis of 2008 in America, everybody was hit hard. Do you think people weren't in Disneyland?
Of course they were. Do you think that Times Square was completely empty? No.
Of course not. Yeah, that's how it goes. Anyway, I thought I'd show you some of the holiday activities you can get up to when you go on holiday. Okay? So you can have some fun. For instance, you can pretend to kill Japanese people. Fun for the whole family.
This is a actual event.
Yeah, you get to do
People
this.
at theme parks.
Yeah, family gathering. Let's go kill the Japanese people.
This is an actual thing.
Yes.
It's like a roller coaster, and then the kid gets off the ride, and his dad's like, "Whoa, wasn't that fun?
Yeah.
You want to do it again?"
We did it. Let's do it again. Let's storm the castle. You know what I mean? Here with your replica gun. Okay. Number 2, you can pretend to be Japanese people and then get called a traitor and be harassed and shamed and have the cops called on you and get kicked out of parks.
That's right. You're not allowed to cosplay as a Japanese person. Wait a minute. This isn't even Japanese cosplay. It looks like some sort of video game. It looks like Genshin
is.
Impact or
Yep.
something. which is Chinese, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, these women are dressing up as like I don't know, video game characters or anime characters, one of the two.
Like that, yeah.
And
Chat
okay,
might know. Who knows?
this does look. I mean, these are sort of traditional.
Sure.
These are traditional Japanese like kimono type styles, but with pink hair and stuff. Come on,
Tell me it's not from some other. It could be from anything. There's Chinese cartoons that look like that.
Yeah.
There's Chinese video games like Genshin Impact that look like that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, listen, I understand that, you know, China doesn't like Japan. I understand they've got a big hangover from the war. I understand there were a lot of atrocities, but this doesn't translate to that. Do you know what I mean? If someone was dressed up as an imperial Japanese soldier with a katana
And said like death to China.
I would understand. But it's kind of like, you know, you wouldn't stop someone dressing in lederhosen just because, you know,
dressing like
because,
a beer woman.
Yeah,
Beer
exactly,
wench.
like a breast woman or something. Because, like, you wouldn't but you wouldn't stop them,
Breast
right?
woman is crazy,
You wouldn't
dude.
stop them because if they were wearing like a Nazi SS uniform and
Sure.
walking in
Yeah.
the middle of, I don't know, like Israel or something, you'd be like,
that
no.
would be-
You'd be
that
like,
would be
no,
bad.
no, no.
Yes.
But if someone's in lederhosen with drinking a beer or something,
in New York.
yeah, you wouldn't
Right.
be like, no,
No.
I'm calling the cops.
Yeah, it doesn't
on you.
make sense.
And this part does over here makes even less sense. Okay, see this police guy is telling him to get out of here.
Yeah.
It's like, you guys get out of this park. You're not allowed to be here. Get out of here because of what they're wearing. Okay. And I mean, again, you would think if it was like some kind of traditional Japanese thing, like related to the war, maybe. But look at what they're dressed in.
Yeah, for sure.
That's not even a Japanese outfit. That's like some fantasy nurse. I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, good point.
What is that? It's like a fantasy nun
It
nurse.
looks like Genshin Impact.
With
I keep
blue
saying
hair.
that. I've never played it.
Yeah.
Actually, I did for a little bit.
Right.
But it reminds me of the like stuff you'd see in these kind of schlock Chinese
Yeah, exactly.
apps or
Which is-
games or, you know.
Yeah.
I don't mean to discredit the game. I wasn't a huge fan.
No.
Or the Chinese cartoons
Yeah.
and stuff. It's the kind of stuff you see.
But imagine you're living in such a crap sort of controlled society that you cannot pretend to be your favorite video game character to go take pictures in the park with your friends.
No.
You can't play dress up.
You can't put a Timu nurse outfit on and a blue wig.
with blue hair, yes.
blue hair.
Because the freaking cops are going to get called on you and they're going to
Yes.
come and tell you to get out of there.
Because you look Japanese
And
to
you,
them.
yes, and you will be harassed because they don't know the difference between Japanese traditional clothing and
Timu-
whatever that
and
is.
Timu nurse frocks.
Yeah, what do you think? What do you think that is? A combat nurse?
I don't know.
I have no
You know
idea.
what I think is they're gonna have some sort of like what is that, like pentacle or whatever below them, like like ley lines or whatever,
Mm-hmm. Yes,
and then spin around or something.
Do a
you know what I
magical
mean?
girl
Something
transformation?
like that,
Who knows? Yeah. Either way, not very nice.
No.
It's
Team
really,
nurse, dude.
it sucks. It's stifling. You
Yeah.
know, especially since these are not, like I said, traditional Japanese
There's
outfits
nothing to
at
do with
all.
Japan, does it?
Just because
That
it's
doesn't look like it.
no, it's because it's like inspired by Japanese anime styles. I guess is why they
guess.
don't like it.
I guess. Then you better get rid of all of Chinese games and all of Chinese cartoons because
Yes.
they're all knockoff looking
Exactly.
knockoffs
Yeah.
of Japanese stuff.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
So, anyway.
Yeah. There's number 3 is you can enjoy the weather at China's beautiful scenic spots. They also have beautiful weather. I don't know why that didn't come through in there.
Okay.
Okay. So let's take a look.
假期最狼狈的2场旅行，
What's
第一个是悟空山。
What the?
Yeah.
This is what are you showing me?
I'm showing you the
was that
weather.
clip?
What? That's just the weather. What are you talking about? It says here.
What are you trying to show me?
No, I mean,
Oh,
if,
see. I
if
saw
you look at the
subtitle,
commentary,
yeah.
it's pretty funny. The
I saw it,
commentary is
yeah.
basically saying, like, you know, you see all these videos, like you're going to see beautiful
Fairies,
women and
yeah.
beautiful fairies in these scenic spots, right?
This is what you get.
Yeah, but all you're going to get is,
Rude.
yeah, well, that's the whole
Floods and
point.
wind and-
Yeah, you're just going to get mud and whatnot, you know. You're not going to see all these beautiful fairies that you see on social media. This is what you see. Yeah. I mean, that looks pretty dangerous to me.
China's drainage is real bad.
Oh, yeah. You can eat a dirt bun, a tubalza, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Poor guy. But yeah, you get to experience this. So these are some of the fun holiday activities you get to
The sandstorm
enjoy.
is wild, dude.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
I've seen a lot of those up
Yeah.
north.
That's not real.
No, that was not
No,
real.
neither is this, though.
We didn't make this.
No,
by the way.
no.
Those sandstorms are very real.
They are. They
They
are.
used to hit my city sometimes.
So this is what happens when you go stand in that, like, hill of people is occasionally you'll get hit by this, and it'll ruin your
Dude, the sand gets in your eyes. It gets everywhere. It's
sand
irritating.
in your ears.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do not like sandstorms.
Of course.
Okay, but now this is another fun thing we uncovered. There is a company
Yes.
that specializes in making fake Mount Fuji mountains.
They made and I'm not joking, a tourist destination to look like Mount Fuji. And I'm putting that the biggest, I wish my fingers were bigger.
Yeah, for
the
air
biggest
quotes.
air quotes you've ever seen in your entire life.
Yeah.
Mount frickin' Fuji.
Let's take a look.
What they did was in a residential area, bulldozed an area right next to shitty apartment buildings and took and made a mound. They made a mound.
Yes.
Put grass on it and made a paper mache painted looking top.
Yes.
And made it spurt out fake red smoke.
Yeah. I mean, here you can actually see
This
the
is how
sort
they
of
made
before
it.
and after.
Yeah.
I like how they just destroyed someone's crops by
Yeah,
the way.
and like right next to the residential area.
I mean, it looks like they didn't even remove the crops. They just put crap on top. They just took dirt and like, oh, screw your crops.
This is tourism in China as Timu Mount Fuji.
Yes. Look at this.
No, we have Mount Fuji at home.
Yeah, exactly. Look, they've got this beautiful picture of like a horse with like a little body of water.
It's a mound of dirt.
With, like you said, with paper mache on top.
Do they know what a mountain is?
I mean, and look at this. They've got a little house, like a
Yes.
fake house where you can sit inside with a window that overlooks it.
Yeah.
They actually have two of them.
Bro, it's a mound.
Look, it's
People
like
are paying to go there.
it's like, oh, look, let me run to Mount Fuji.
China's reality in China is so unimportant.
Yes.
And you got to understand this with the face filters they use. Everything about China is so fake now.
Yes.
It's so unimportant now that it's more important that you can just go there and use your Huawei phone to take a photo and make it kind of look interesting.
Yeah, and they
with
use filters and stuff.
It does.
Yeah.
Reality doesn't matter. When you go there and you're like wicked disappointed and you're like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. That doesn't matter.
Nope.
Nobody thinks like that.
No. By the way, look at the scale of it, because if you look at these two above me here, look at the guy standing
Don't say
there.
Down syndrome Mount Fuji. It's not.
It's not.
That's rude.
Yeah, exactly. Look at the guy. Look at how big he is compared to the mountains. See over there?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing.
because
is
they're
that-
actually tiny.
But they don't care
No.
because it's all about that photo and the perspective.
Yes. Oh, you get to walk with a horse. You know?
Do you not love the officials checking
Yes,
out their creation?
They are.
The
They're just
CCP
like
officials. They always walk on the road, hands behind their back, sometimes smoking cigarettes. Yes.
Yes. I like how you get to queue up. They've got this one white horse, by the way, which you can see over here. It kind of spoils it when you've got those soulless apartments in the background there and a concrete wall.
That was my point. It's literally right outside the apartment blocks.
Yeah,
That
and they're
poor
like,
horse.
oh, amazing. Anyway, just thought we'd share that with you. It's time for what you missed on Monday.org. Okay. Sorry.
Taking our work in the pack.
Oh no.
That's like the worst
Very
computer graphics.
They're boiling Coke Zero.
Yes, why?
Why?
Look at him just chilling on his phone.
I like he's not passed out anymore.
All right. What's going on here? Oh, dude.
Bro, I know a lot of music. I don't know this.
I've shown this to you before.
Have you?
I have.
Is this some dumb goth thing?
Nope.
Oh.
So that
Shabano!
is Shabano. What did we do this Monday? We did the closest calls, China's closest calls, and insane near misses.
We also played an interactive game where I had to pick 7 random music videos from my childhood that I loved, and then you had to pick 7 from your teen years.
But you only picked 6, and I picked 7.
It's whatever.
Yeah,
It's whatever.
Yeah.
I picked 7, but one of them was a bonus for the audience.
Oh, right. Yes, that's true.
So we had to guess each other's with only 3 seconds of footage.
Yes.
That was a pretty fun game. We sprinkled that throughout China's closest calls and nearest misses, stuff we can't show on YouTube. And that's what we do on Xiaobanhou. We do cover topics that we can't show on the main show because they're either too dicey or we won't get into too many details.
Yeah, exactly.
My point is that if you go to patreon.com/ADV podcast and you decide to support our work, if you like what we do here and you support us there, you get a whole nother show every single Monday. There's 148 episodes now.
Yeah.
Right? Some of the other stuff we've done very recently, we'd like to show you what we've covered recently. We did China's remote control perps. Pause that. That was very interesting. A new live streaming industry in China is taking off taking off really crazily in China right now, where people pay to use remote control cars with cameras on them to do things.
To harass women.
To harass,
basically.
But there's 6 levels. I did tiers of the insanity that it goes to because it gets out of control.
Absolutely.
So that was a really fun one. Very kind of unnerving as well. We also did China's sus delivery driver core videos. You'll see a lot of videos coming out of China with delivery drivers, and they're trying to turn them into these heroes and martyrs. Very interesting.
Oh, yeah.
We did Chinese food, but it was actually a Chinese medicine episode where they eat crazy stuff.
Like
to try to
wild
fix
lion's
ailments.
head, that type of thing. We got arrested at Whataburger. That's
enough said.
Yeah, exactly.
Enough said. And then we did China's Insanity Pro Max. WTF is even happening. If you were to sign up just for one episode, it would be this one, because you can take the clip that you see on the left out of here, where, and I kid you not, Chinese police beat up
disabled
people who are begging,
and people without limbs, and people on wheelchairs. They throw them off their wheelchairs. Yes,
they beat them
with riot shields.
Yeah, and not because they were fighting back, because they were singing in public to try to earn some money.
It's wild.
Yeah, do it for that, because you can use that as ammo against the CCP.
Yeah, because we couldn't show that on the main show. It's just that YouTube would punish us too much.
Yes.
Anyway, if you have the means, of course, we understand it's a big ask, but this is the best way to support us. You can join us at, if you take the live tier, that means you get to interact with us live. That means you get to enter your name if you want to, and we spin a wheel, and then we give a handwritten Chinese name every week.
That we come up with
for the person who wins. And of course, you get to choose the next topic and all that sort of stuff.
And be part of the Q&A.
Yeah. If you get the Shaban Ho half price sale, you get to watch it directly after it goes live. We then publish it. After we finish the live. Yeah.
And you get access to every episode.
Every single one.
It's not just the future ones.
Yeah. Exactly.
Highly recommend, if you do want to support our work, do it this way, because you get something for it.
Yeah.
Right?
We'd love to see you there, if you have the means, of course. Anyway, back to the show, because it's not over yet.
It is not. Because it's time for Worldview.
So we talk about everything in the world, specifically with regards to China. We've got very important stuff to talk about this week, actually.
Yeah.
But first, we have to talk about this absolute insanity that's happening right now because of the India-Pakistan conflict.
Yeah, before we get into it, I just want to ask you, what's a crazy thing to happen? Kind of blindsided everyone. Obviously, a lot of tensions between Pakistan and India for so long now. But so crazy to see it heat up so quickly. And this is the first time we're seeing a post-truth war. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Where the access to AI and fake media tools and everything that exists now means that we get to see two belligerents, right, in a war using information warfare on social media against each other, and it's playing out insanely, but China's involved.
I feel like China's doing a lot of this. China has supplied India with fighter jets and surface-to-air missiles and certain weapons of war, which China, of course, has never been able to test in a real combat situation. Yeah. So China's salivating at this opportunity, and they love that their weapons are going to be tested so that they can work out the bugs and see what's effective, what's not. And one thing is there have been these wild claims from Chinese propagandists. I've been seeing it from Chinese propagandists that loads of Indian fighter jets have been shot down.
Yes.
I've been seeing daily, they're like, 6 fighter jets, 7 fighter jets, 10 fighter jets.
It came out like a whirlwind.
But there's no proof.
No.
There's no official amount of any planes being shot down.
We have no horse in this race.
Exactly. Just by the law of averages, I'm pretty sure some planes have been shot down because there was an attack, a surgical strike against certain terrorist areas apparently in Pakistan. And of course, you're probably going to lose some jets and some planes, but no one knows if any planes were lost because there's no evidence yet. There's lots of pictures of ejector seats and stuff, but then it turns out that's from another conflict from years ago.
That's what I said about this post-truth war. You're seeing both sides got to go wild.
Yeah, either way, because, China is so happy to have their weapons tested. The Chinese propagandists are going out there and saying, look at the Chinese jets were so great. They shut down all these French-made jets.
French-made,
yeah. They are. The Rafale,
Beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. They're French-made.
You know?
Yeah, French made. Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
exactly. You could cosplay as a French made jet next time in the park in China and then get kicked out
I think there's
for being
something-
Japanese.
Is that non-credible defense? I think they would probably turn a jet into a French maid.
Yes. Anyway, I'll just read this to you. It says Chinese netizens have created videos mocking Indians after a Chinese-made J-10 of the Pakistani army reportedly shot down two Indian military aircraft. Again, this is not confirmed. All right? The upper left video is the original song. The others use the same song. So they made this. We're not going to play it because this is that same team that made...
They literally only make racist India.
Yeah, they make
contents
racist
from
India.
China.
They do put on brown face and
Yes.
then they pretend to do Bollywood stuff.
Yeah.
And the last time we played their stuff on our show, they hit us with copyright claims, you know? So we're not going to play their video, but it's tasteless and they have broken, you know, those stupid styrofoam airplanes that you can throw in the park. For your
Yes.
kids,
Yeah.
they took those and like broke them up and
they
stuck
put
them on their heads and
you
stuff.
can see there. They only have one joke, and the joke is racism.
Yes, that's
all
their
they do.
joke. Yeah, great joke. And then they've been putting out all this AI stuff with their stupid songs saying like, oh, India just bought a jet, just bought some jets from France or whatever, and they got shot down by our Chinese jets type thing.
It looks like if you look at the Chinese propaganda, including this, which they can be tantamount to propaganda if I'm totally honest.
This is propaganda.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you look at the Chinese like amplifier state response, so the amplifiers of the state doesn't want to say, they don't want to say they have any stake in this stuff. So they get amplifiers to do it. So you'll see it on social media, you'll see it on these propaganda accounts that you follow on Twitter, right?
Yep.
And you'll watch what they do, and their performance looks like it's almost like they're cheering on Pakistan. But actually what they're doing is what you said before. They're cheering on Chinese weapon systems because they get to watch them succeed. And that's why they have a huge stake in making sure that people think that all of these weapons shot down all these planes successfully.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're going to see China really invested in this, I think. I think they're going to be a huge backer of disinformation in the war. And it doesn't matter what side it's going to be on.
because they
could
don't-
be India,
yeah.
could be Pakistan. It's about what benefits China.
So if their J-10s get shot down, which very likely, I mean, that's the thing. Nothing has been confirmed, and so I've also heard that two Chinese J-10s were shot down by their own defense systems.
Yes.
I've heard that too.
Yes.
So nobody knows yet, and we cannot confirm anything yet. But of course, the Chinese propagandists are jumping on the fact that Chinese weapons have successfully shot down French planes.
And
they love
doing
that.
it in the most racist way possible.
Yeah. Now, here's how bad it gets. I've seen many accounts, not just, of course, on Twitter, but on Douyin, TikTok, all these other things.
Yeah, a lot of TikTok.
This is first perspective. Pakistan used J-10 fighter jets to shoot down India's French Rafale. How do you even say that? Rafale. I should know. I like fighter jets, but I don't know how to say that. Rafale fighter jets. 3 have been shot down. See, now it's claiming 3 have been shot down by J-10s.
That's a big claim, right?
And then they show this footage.
And you're like,
yeah, and I'm like, dude, come on. Yeah, because I happen to be quite a big fan of Digital Combat Simulator, which is better than this. This is, I believe, from the game Arma 3. It's video game footage, right?
yeah, obviously. I mean, I shouldn't say obviously. A lot of people
fell for this.
That's a big problem.
Yeah. That's not the only. There were also nighttime shots of these planes getting shot down. All video game footage. Arma 3, I believe, and
it makes sense.
Yeah, because China uses Arma 3 to train its soldiers.
This is Chinese state media. They use Arma 3, a video game, very popular in China.
Very it's a massive sandbox military game, and it's the kind of thing where you can join your friends online. You can be part of a little squad. You can ride vehicles. You can use all different kinds of weapons of war, and they actually use that to train their soldiers. Somebody's got to tell these guys that video games aren't real life, though.
This is not an ad, by the way. We don't play Arma 3.
No. I've never played it. It looks like fun, though, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
It's the kind of thing I probably would enjoy. But anyway, they train the Chinese military on this, so it would make sense that they would use that game engine to
make propaganda,
to make out these fake videos. But it turns out that I got new exclusive footage that shows Chinese advanced fighter jets shot down.
They're not going to like this.
No, take a look.
Dude, that's all of China's new planes.
Yeah, look at that. Oh, man.
Wow.
I'm seeing some... Yeah, it's no good. Look at them all. Look at them.
Every one of China's new fighter jets.
They're all shut down.
They're all gone.
Wow, isn't that crazy?
I guess I guess we're not going to go to war after all.
Yeah, shut them all down. Anyway, of course, I just took footage from someone who recorded DCS, Digital Combat Simulator, and put it in. I'm doing what they did.
Yes.
But the thing is, they're tricking everyone, and it makes me mad that people, because I guess people just doom scroll and they see like what kind of looks semi-realistic, and they're like, oh, wow, look, Chinese jets just shut down French jets.
Post-truth war, post-truth world.
Yeah.
That's what we're in.
So, I mean, just exercise common sense. When you see these videos going out there, you have to verify.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to do in this day and age because China has very successfully manipulated many websites and Google search results.
It's getting out of control. And what's their source?
Yeah. Oh, I know what their source is. Here it is.
My source is that I made it the f up.
And unfortunately, as funny as that is,
Yeah.
it's getting, we haven't covered this yet. And we'll probably put something together, but we're getting shocked at China's source washing.
Oh, yeah.
Where they're creating just an untold amount of official sources that are manipulating official data and official reasoning.
They create fake studies and fake
Yes.
websites, which then get linked to like your Google search result.
Yeah,
and it'll
'cause
say
of
like,
LLMs
oh,
and
Chinese
stuff.
people earn like $1 million a month or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
And it'll be like, wait, what? And then you look, and then the source is like a Chinese website that's
Yeah.
fake.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got to get into this. This is very important. You wanted to read something.
Super important. This is Stanford Review. This came out of Stanford University. This is crazy, and I just want to stick with me a little bit.
Sure.
If you're an audio listener, you're going to be very happy.
Okay, and if you're not an audio listener, you're just going to have to bear with us.
No, I mean, this is super
No,
important.
it is incredibly important, and this is something that both of us have been aware of for the longest time. And even before you get into this, I would like to quickly tell my Confucius Institute story, if you don't mind. Okay, because it's related. Back in 2016, the first time I visited America, I came to do a road trip. And I was invited by somebody in the journalism department of the University of Arizona in Tucson to go do a speech. And it was all about conquering southern China, which we just released.
This is our TV show.
Yeah, it's one of our documentaries, TV documentaries. So I brought some clips of the show. I came to talk about my experience in China, what it was like to film there, and so on. And the Confucius Institute caught wind of this.
That's an arm of the Chinese government, by the way. United Front.
Yeah, so I walk into this room, and there weren't a lot of people, and maybe 30, 40 people in the room there to watch my speech, including some Chinese people. Then the Confucius Institute turned up, and they walked into the room. As soon as they walked into the room, some of the Chinese people that were sitting in the front row got up and left. And I thought, that's a little weird. I haven't even started yet, you know? And then they introduced themselves as, oh, we're with the Confucius Institute, because there was like an auntie, you know, like a 40-something-year-old auntie. The rest are students, right? There's an auntie and like an entourage of the Confucius Institute students, I guess. And they went and sat in the back there. So I start my presentation. I show a few clips. I'm starting to talk about things. And I remember specifically the woman, you know, the 40-something-year-old woman is taking notes the whole time while I'm doing this presentation. And at one point, I was showing a clip about a very rough road. Remember those really bad dirt roads that we went over where it's just like destroyed potholes, all this kind of thing. And I was trying to talk about the challenges of navigating, you know, rural China because of the bad roads. And she stood up and interrupted my speech and said, that's not true. Now China has put all new roads everywhere. So she tried to hijack my speech, tried to change the narrative, tried to accuse me of being a liar while I'm showing footage.
In America, by the way.
Yes, in America, in the University of Tucson. University of Arizona, in Tucson. I've got footage on the screen that was recorded the year before, because this is now 2016, from 2015 when we filmed it. I'm showing and talking about my experiences, but she, on behalf of the Chinese government, was there to make sure that nobody heard the truth about China.
In universities in America.
In America. And that's when I got to see how bad it was. I didn't realize. Okay, this is 2016. Things have changed since then, but the infiltration of the Chinese government into universities and schools in America is insane. And
I mean, you say things have changed, it got worse.
Yeah, it did. It did.
It got way worse.
It did get worse.
Way worse.
So not only did they scare the students that were coming to watch my presentation away, because those Chinese students, I guess, that left were probably worried about being associated with me talking about China without permission or something, you know? So they left so that they didn't get into trouble. So they really are coercing students and intimidating students, but at the same time also trying to force official Chinese narratives.
Yes.
You know, within the universities and schools. So I just wanted to, before you started with this, share my own experience with that.
Of course.
Anyway, let's go.
So it has progressively gotten much worse.
Sure.
And you'll see why. This summer, a CCP agent impersonated a Stanford student. So Stanford is an American university. Under the alias Charles Chen, he approached several students through social media. Anna, this is an alias for her to protect her safety, a Stanford student conducting sensitive research on China, began receiving unexpected messages from Charles Chen. At first, Charles's outreach seemed benign. He asked about networking opportunities, but soon his messages took a strange turn. Charles inquired whether Anna spoke Mandarin, then grew increasingly persistent and personal. He sent videos of Americans who had gained fame in China, encouraged Anna to visit Beijing, and offered to cover her travel expenses. He would send screenshots of a bank account balance to prove he could buy the plane tickets. Alarmingly, he referenced details about her that Anna had never disclosed to him. He advised her to enter China for only 24 to 144 hours, short enough, he said, to avoid visa scrutiny by authorities, and urged her to communicate exclusively via the Chinese version of WeChat, a platform heavily monitored by the CCP. When Charles commented on one of her social media posts, asking her to delete screenshots of their conversations, she knew that this was serious. Under the guidance of experts familiar with espionage tactics, Anna contacted authorities. Their investigation revealed that Charles Chen had no affiliation with Stanford. Instead, he had posed as a Stanford student for years, slightly altering his name and persona online, targeting multiple students, nearly all of them researching China-related topics. According to experts on China who assisted Anna, Charles Chen was likely an agent of the Chinese Ministry of State Security, MSS. It's kind of like China's CIA.
Yep.
Tasked with identifying sympathetic Stanford students and gathering intelligence. This March, Stanford's president, Dr. Jonathan Levin, received a letter from the Select Committee on the CCP. That's an American organization that warns people about the CCP.
Good organization.
Very good. Detailing the security risks China poses to STEM research. For years, concerns about the Chinese espionage have quietly persisted at Stanford. Throughout our investigation, professors, students, and researchers readily recounted their experiences of Chinese spying, yet they declined to speak publicly. One student who had experienced espionage firsthand was too fearful to recount their story, even via encrypted messaging. The risk is too high, they explained. Transnational repression, $64 million in Chinese funding, and allegations of racial profiling have contributed to the pervasive culture of silence at Stanford and beyond. In this pervasive silence that has compelled us to write. After interviewing multiple anonymous Stanford faculty, students, and China experts, we can confirm that the CCP is orchestrating a widespread intelligence gathering campaign at Stanford. In short, there are Chinese spies at Stanford. In fact, there is a law created in, I'll paraphrase, in 2017 called China's National Intelligence Law. So this is after your speech.
Yeah.
This is how it ramped up then in 2017. So it was already bad when you were there. It mandates that all Chinese citizens support and cooperate with state intelligence work regardless of location. So literally, if you're a Chinese citizen and you're studying in American university, the CCP, if they tell you, go steal this information, you have to, by law, break the law in America, or you will be punished and your family will be punished back in China.
Yeah,
right?
It's a law.
Any organization or citizen shall support, assist, and cooperate with state intelligence work in accordance with the law and keep secrets of national intelligence work from becoming known to the public. These laws leave Chinese students no option but to accept demands of the CCP. Students engaged in sensitive scientific research, especially in fields like AI and robotics, are most often targeted. One Chinese national at Stanford spoke to us on this very issue under the conditions of anonymity. Many Chinese nationals have handlers. The CCP want to know everything that's going on at Stanford. This is a very normal thing. They just relay the information that they have. Another Stanford student shared an incident involving their professor's encounter with suspected Chinese espionage. According to the student, a professor recounted needing to schedule a meeting with a Chinese student. When the student declined, citing a mysterious reason, the professor asked why. The student replied, "You know why." The professor continued to inquire, only to receive cryptic responses. "I cannot tell you that." Finally, the professor revealed that the student admitted to meeting a CCP handler. The Chinese government spends a lot of time collecting data on its overseas students, and it has a pretty good understanding of who is doing what and if someone is working in an area of interest, like frontier technology. And I'll tell you why this is important. There's something called Made in China 2025.
Yeah.
Basically, Xi Jinping has declared that China has to be the world leader in every frontier technology by the end of 2025. And when they have to do something, they have to do it.
Yes.
So they will put every single last bit of effort into making sure that happens. And the number one way to do that, to get ahead in frontier technology, is not to make new research papers or to actually do real research and R&D.
Yeah.
It's to steal intellectual property, steal research, and they want everything from these students. If you steal all that stuff, you can go repurpose it and become the leader and cost cut and drive everyone out of the market back in China, right?
Correct.
Let me just finish this real quick. The case of the Stanford, if students have access to things the government would like access to, it's relatively easy to reach out to an individual. They use carrot and sticks. If you turn over information, you may get a reward. If you don't, there is a punishment. The case of a Stanford student, Chen Song, is the only well-known espionage incident publicly acknowledged by Stanford. However, according to Stanford insiders, espionage cases are only disclosed to the public in extraordinary circumstances.
Makes sense. They would lose their reputation.
For sure. Claims of, this is Stanford that put this out, by the way, so this is great. Claims of racial profiling have the potential to derail investigations, leading to strong institutional pushback against investigating these issues. Therefore, it is Stanford's policy that of investigative authorities to maintain privacy, choosing instead to cancel student visas without public notice. So they do something about it.
It makes sense. China has always known that playing the race card is a big trump card.
They did it during COVID.
Yeah, it's like stop Asian hate. It's like if you say, hey, listen, COVID looks like it's coming from Wuhan. No, you're racist. Stop Asian hate.
And they'll attack you.
Yeah. And I mean, we know it's a problem in universities.
Yes.
Because how do you not racially profile when the Chinese government has a law that every Chinese citizen must obey them and must act on their behalf as a spy? How do you not say well, we better keep an eye on the Chinese students then?
Yeah, it's not that the student, it's not their fault,
No.
right? You can't look at it like that, though.
No.
You have to look at it from the perspective of, this is the law of China, and if those students want to go home and they don't want their parents to get arrested,
Yeah, they're going
then
to
they have to capitulate. It's not their fault, right? But you can't just say, oh, this is too sensitive, we can't do anything about it, right? Because this is going to make
You need to
people
acknowledge
upset.
the problem. You need to find a way to deal with the problem without shying away from the problem because you're worried about being called racist.
Those same accusations of racial profiling were used to disband the China Initiative in 2022, a project designed to prevent Chinese espionage. Think about how heated it got during that COVID thing. They got rid of a freaking government institution in America to stop Chinese espionage because they were worried about being racist.
Stupid. Stop being worried about that.
Asian American Congresswoman Michelle Steele, in an exclusive interview with a review, labeled claims of racial profiling a deliberate effort to prevent Beijing's profile and harassment of their students from coming to light. Literally, when I did my video about where COVID came from, they made campaigns against us and sent all kinds of trolls and things to say that we were racist because we said this is where it probably came from, right?
Yeah.
And if you brought it up at all, then all of a sudden it became a race issue, which had nothing to do with this.
Nothing.
Right? Reality.
Yeah, they set up websites. They
all
did
kinds of
everything to
stuff.
try and shut us down, call us racist. They tried to really mess with us,
Drawing an anonymous testimony from faculty, students, and China specialists, our investigation confirms that the CCP runs an extensive intelligence gathering network at Stanford. The existential question is straightforward. How should we respond? First and foremost, the status quo of branding those who discuss the issue as racist must end.
Yes.
We wrote this article not to advance a policy position, but to highlight a silenced reality. Sound policy depends on evidence, not repression. And the nation that develops superior technologies will gain a critical military edge over its adversaries. China cannot be that nation. Working together, U.S. universities and the federal government need to take serious steps to defend the integrity of our nation's mission-critical research. The future of freedom depends on it.
Absolutely.
Go check out the article down below.
It's linked.
I think you'll probably see more universities come out with this kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, every single university has been infiltrated by the CCP.
For sure.
Every single one. And not just university, any kind of learning institution.
And it matters less if you have a freaking liberal arts degree or something where you're learning music or something, right? But it matters when you have high-level potentially children of CCP officials and stuff in high-level research positions that have to, by law, send every bit of sensitive research, even under oath if they're here in America, back to China.
Yeah.
And that's just the reality of the situation. It's an uncomfortable reality, but it's real, right?
Absolutely.
And I'm sorry to say, I hate this stupid quote or whatever, but reality, the truth doesn't care about your feelings or whatever. And that's very true in this scenario. So articles down below, go check it out.
Very important
I didn't
article.
Read the whole thing.
Yeah, very important article. What else do we have in our worldview?
Just a couple things here.
Okay.
So some proof of the tariff response, right? China is really reeling. That's why you're seeing factories go down. It's why you're seeing a bunch of protests break out. People throwing away their livelihoods and freedom because they aren't getting paid. They lost their jobs. Their manufacturing's disappearing.
Are they making inventories into a race issue too?
Stop. Anyway, Maersk, the shipping company.
Yeah.
We used to see these shipping containers all the time, especially in the ports in Guangdong.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe in the port of Dandong.
Oh, yeah, it's very possible.
Port of Dandong.
In the port of Dandong, probably sees some shipping getting lost.
Didn't the port of Dandong fail?
I think as like a mega project, but I think it still operates. As
does
port.
it?
I think at
right.
least nominally.
Okay.
Would love to have someone go and check it out for us.
Sure.
Anyway, there's a lot of drop in trade, which is happening because of the tariffs, right?
Yes.
And that is something you can see. It's not just news articles, because what's happening right now is China's running a counter-propaganda campaign. I should say propaganda campaign.
Yes.
Against American reality. And the American reality being like, hey, the shipping's going down, the tariffs are hitting, blah, blah, blah. China says, no, this doesn't affect us. We won't bend a knee.
Yes.
We don't care about this at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. At R. Okay. All right. You got the articles down below, right?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
Interesting meeting, I believe, shows kind of a big weakness on both China and Russia's part right now.
And what's that?
Having these high-level meetings between leaders in lieu of trying to repair relations with America / trying to... Xi Jinping was already trying to court Europe, but the priority here is to solidify this fake bond that it has with Russia, because I think both governments right now are looking down. They're looking at a very grim future. China with a manufacturing economy that's losing its biggest client, right? And Russia having to deal with its own situation in Europe. So I feel like they're courting each other out of pure necessity, and I think these kind of like last-minute looking meetings really show that.
You know what? I just can't stop looking at how skinny those soldiers are. They really need to eat a sandwich. I'm sorry, but like, what's going on here? Isn't that like this is a military parade? Wouldn't you get your like beefiest, most handsome guys to stand? You got a world leader coming in.
True.
What's going on there? Russia, feed your troops. What's going on here? Wow. Seriously.
The Russian troops.
Yeah, I know.
That's alarming, actually.
I know, it's really bad. Anyway,
they are going to, American leadership is going to meet Chinese leadership in Switzerland. I believe America chose Switzerland as the place to meet, Geneva. They're going to meet. Trump has said alluded to something like bringing the tariffs and settling at 80%. I wouldn't count on anything.
Who knows?
I especially wouldn't count on China publicly saying anything, period, because they've already, and this is a key feature here, they've already silently exempted 25%. You know how they hit America with 127% tariff?
Yes, yeah.
25% of those goods have been exempted, and they didn't say a word.
Because it means that they buckled, yeah.
They buckled,
they blinked.
And they had to exempt these things because they need these products so bad.
Yeah.
And I suspect you're going to see that kind of stuff happen rather than making a big show about it and trying to be like, no, we didn't buckle at all.
No.
That's what you're going to see.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's kind of interesting. Anything else, or is that?
I believe that is...
That's that.
Oh.
That's that. Okay. Well, guys, it's time for Yamcha. And for those of you who don't know what Yamcha is, it's our Q&A section where we answer your questions and you question our answers. It's Friday after all, so it's time to relax, time to loosen the tie. If you got a nice cold beverage, crack it open if you haven't already.
Get up on that 22nd floor, crack open a good one,
what are you
and say,
gonna?
oh my.
Oh my days, Shaq.
Exactly. So anyway, for those of you who are watching live and on the weekend, we'll continue. But if you're not, stay awesome. And, because we cut the whole Q&A segment out on Monday. So anyway, let's get started.
Yes. I'm sorry.
What?
There's just a lot of funny comments.